So we started working on our application. Now I also want to improve the global styling of the entire layout. Application-wide fonts would be great, and I want to start working on reusable components. Let's start with the application-wide styling. I want to add some fonts. And there's one font I want to use. I'm on Google Fonts. You can simply Google for, Google Fonts, and you should find that fonts.google.com page. And there I just click the plus next to Open Sans, then click on the element which opened at the bottom. And now this is how we can add it to our application. We just need to add that link to our HTML page in the head section. So let's copy it and, where's our HTML page? Is it that page, the index.view file? But then which one would we use? Do we maybe use the layout? But here's the secret. The layout also is just included in another wrapping HTML page that is created by Nuxt. The problem just is we don't see that page. But we can add elements to the head section because that's such a common requirement through the Nuxt config.js file. I'll dive way deeper into it later, but in there you will find this head property. If not, add it. And in there you find ways to set the page title, page metadata. Again, I will revisit this, but also link, which is an array of link elements. So these elements here, which you want to add to your page. So in there, I'll simply add a new link, which is a new JavaScript object, which has a rel property of whatever we have here. So style sheet in our case here. So rel, a string, style sheet. Then we need a ref, right? We need that ref. So we can just copy it and paste it in there, but it's a property. So the equal sign has to be replaced with a colon. And now this will be added to every HTML page generated by Nuxt. So to every page. So now we're importing this from that global CDN. And with that, we can now go to the default layout because I will only use that layout in this application. So I will use that instead of a global CSS file, which would be an option alternatively. And we'll remove the existing styling in there. And instead, I want to style the HTML content. I want to assign a default font family to the entire page HTML, and that will be Open Sans with a fallback of sans serif if that can't be loaded. And I also want to style my application-wide body. I simply want to set the margin to 0. Now with that, if we go back to our application, you see the font changed. And if we inspect it, we can indeed see that if I bring this up, that it has this font family applied. If I untick this, it changes back. So this really works. This is now applied because I added it to the Nuxt config file, the import, and then the style assignment to the default layout. Now, of course, we can do way more styling on the individual pages, and then also, of course, on the components we may use in these pages. Speaking of that, let's add some.